this game here, when I run the code, the ship automatically follows the mouse cursor. And that makes for an awkward start to the game because your ship is all over here on the side of the top left corner of the screen. And so the way that this should go, or a better way to get this going, is you hit this run code button and the cursor needs to click on the ship, and once the cursor clicks on the ship, then the game starts, right? And so how does that happen? Well, you can see here that he has a mouse click method for the firing of the bullets, and then he has a mouse move method. And the reason why it's going to the cursor is because the mouse move method is saying set the ship's position to the cursor's position, right? So what we want to do is we want to change the mouse click method to start game, and the start game function is going to be right here. Start game is going to have an if statement saying if start G is equal to true. Since start G is going to be Boolean, we could just put that in there. We're going to create start G and set it equal to true. Okay, so when you click, this is going to happen, and this is going to check. And what do you need to check? Well, we need to check the get element at E. So start game is a mouse click method, so we do have the E variable that tells us the mouse position. So we're going to do get element at E.getX, E.getY, and we're going to check if that returns the user ship, which is the main character that we have. Okay. Right here you can see the main character right there. Yeah, and if that is true and I didn't click on outside space, then I'm going to set start G equal to false, and then I'm going to run a second mouse click method, which is going to run fire instead. And one thing you need to understand is that there can only be one mouse click method running, so the most recent one is the one that runs, and it overwrites the previous one. So this mouse click method, when I first run code, is going to run the start game when I click. Once I click, right, then this start game is going to run. Start G is true. It's going to check, did I click on the ship? If I did click on the ship, start G is false. So that means this is not going to happen again when I click. Not only is this not going to happen again when I click, but when I click, it's going to run fire. So this is going to be the overriding mouse click method. And since we don't need start G, since that's the case, right? So this mouse click method is going to overwrite the previous one. So it's no longer going to run start game. So we're going to do that and that. I guess you could just ignore what I was talking about with start G. And it's going to go like that, right? So if I click on the ship, have a new mouse click method overwrite the previous one, and then I'm going to have the ship move to my cursor, right? Not on the start function. Did you see that? Don't move on the start function. Have that like start listening here once I click on the ship. So now I run it. I click everywhere else, nothing happens, right? And more importantly, the ship doesn't automatically go to my cursor. But if I click on my ship, then all of a sudden things start going, and my fire method is going to work now. It's going to be listening for the click, and it's going to fire. I'm going to click, and it fires. That algorithm hasn't been completed, just working perfectly yet, but this is a work in progress, and that's how you're going to get that going.